If you enjoy this video, remember to like it and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me a lot. The story begins. I woke up to silence. The kind of silence that presses against your skin and fills the room heavier than air. At first I thought I was dreaming. My bed felt too large. My arms, stretched across the blanket, looked wrong. They were long, impossibly long, as if the bones inside had grown during the night. My hands twitched, and for a moment I was sure I was staring at someone else's body. I tried to sit up, but the ceiling above me shifted. It was too close, then suddenly far away, moving like it was breathing. My chest tightened. I whispered to myself that it was just the dark playing tricks, but deep down I knew it was not the dark. Something had snapped inside my head. The clock on the wall ticked slower than it should have. I counted the seconds, but they stretched like hours. Then, without warning, the hand spun forward as if time itself had skipped. The room pulsed. My heartbeat drowned everything else. I stumbled to the mirror. What I saw almost made me scream. My reflection was shrinking. My body seemed to fold in on itself, smaller and smaller, while the frame of the mirror stretched higher than the door. I touched the glass, but my fingers looked like they belonged to a giant. It was not a dream. I had read once about Alice in Wonderland syndrome, strange distortions of size, shape, and time. A neurological curse that made the world melt and twist. I used to think it sounded fascinating, but living inside it was like being trapped in a nightmare that would not end. I closed my eyes. Maybe if I counted to 10 the world would settle. 1, 2. The carpet beneath me swelled upward, soft like waves of water. 3, 4. My own breathing sounded like thunder. 5. A shadow moved across my eyelids. I opened them and froze. Someone was sitting on the bed. The figure was small, child-sized, but its proportions were wrong. Its arms were too thin, its head too large. It sat perfectly still, yet I felt its eyes drilling into me, though the room was dark. When I blinked, it vanished. The blanket where it sat was still dented, warm like someone had been there seconds ago. Panic clawed through me. I rushed to the door, but the hallway stretched away like an endless tunnel. Every step I took only made it longer. My legs burned. The walls leaned inward as if the house itself was alive, waiting to crush me. When I finally reached the kitchen, the lights flickered. My phone lay on the counter. I grabbed it, desperate to call someone, anyone. The screen lit up, but the numbers warped, melting like wax. I tried to dial, but the digits twisted into symbols I did not recognize. My own name appeared across the screen, repeating again and again until the device went black. A low hum filled the room. At first it sounded electrical, like wires vibrating in the walls. Then it grew louder, deeper, until it felt like it was inside my skull. My vision swam. The floor beneath me shrank, then expanded. The table towered like a skyscraper. My own arms looked as thin as paper. I collapsed to my knees, clutching my head, whispering, "Please let it stop." But it did not stop. The hum changed into whispers, dozens of voices speaking at once, too fast to understand. I pressed my hands to my ears, but the voices were inside, echoing through bone and blood. I looked up, and the kitchen was no longer my kitchen. The walls bent outward, curving into impossible angles. The ceiling spiraled like a funnel. My stomach churned. Through the distortion, I saw the figure again. This time it was taller, its head nearly scraping the warped ceiling. Its body pulsed like it was breathing through every inch of its skin. It leaned closer, face stretching longer and longer until it was inches from mine. The whispers grew into words. "You do not belong here." The lights exploded. Darkness swallowed me whole. When I woke, I was back in my room. Morning light leaked through the blinds. For a moment I thought it was over, but then I looked down. My hands were the size of a child's. The blanket around me felt heavy like stone. The walls of the room swayed, wider and narrower with each breath. I tried to scream, but my voice came out broken, like an echo from underwater. The syndrome was not a dream. It was real. And it was getting worse. Days blurred together. Sometimes my own reflection looked like a stranger. Sometimes the house expanded into an endless labyrinth. I tried to eat, but food tasted of dust. I tried to sleep, but time collapsed the moment I closed my eyes. Minutes became hours, hours became seconds. People stopped visiting. My family said I was hallucinating, that stress was twisting my perception. But when I asked them to stay with me, to watch the walls breathing, they refused. They said nothing was moving. They said I needed help. Help. What help exists when reality itself cannot be trusted? One night I recorded myself, hoping to capture proof. The footage showed me staring at nothing, screaming at empty air. The figure on my bed never appeared on the camera. The stretching walls looked normal. I realized the worst truth of all. I was alone in this. The syndrome had me, and it would never let go. The last time I remember the clock striking midnight, the hand spun backwards. The house seemed to tilt. My reflection in the window smiled, though I was not smiling. The whispers grew louder, calling me deeper, asking me to step out of myself and join the figure that waited in the dark corner. I do not know how long I have been here. Maybe minutes, maybe years. The world bends, shrinks, expands. I write this hoping someone will hear it, hoping that when you look into your own mirror, you do not see the same distortion staring back at you. Because once it begins, it never ends. And when the figure finally reaches you, there will be no waking up.